Good morning, everyone. That was great. Welcome to the 2025 Annual Institute on Black Life Conference. This year's theme is Black Joy. Y'all are gonna make my job very easy today. For those who don't know me, my name is David Ponton III. I'm an associate professor in the School of Interdisciplinary Global Studies, the director of the Institute on Black Life, and the chair of the Racial Justice Initiative. Around here, we have in the back Dr. Will Tyson, who is the Associate Director for IBL, Carrying a Case of Water. And Rebecca, are you here? There she is. Rebecca is the Program Coordinator for the Institute on Black Life. I want to especially thank Rebecca for her hard work. Organizing this conference would have been an absolutely impossible task without her efforts. And I also want to thank our friends in the CAS Office of Communications and Marketing, Cindy Stonehouse, Martina Robinson. They've worked hand in hand with Rebecca to bring this conference to life. I also want to shout out Corey Leapock, who is the photographer around here. There he is. He's always been very gracious with his time helping out the Institute, so I'm very happy. And I want to acknowledge Coffee Me, a local Black-owned cafe and bakery located at 1457 Bush Boulevard. They are providing services for us this morning, so please be sure to support them. And you may have also noticed that the USF bookstore is here in the back. We at the Institute really hoped to highlight the research and creative works of faculty and community members whose works speak to and are related to the life of Black people in Africa and its diaspora. The bookstore back there has copies of these books available for purchase, but don't delay because the bookstore won't be here all day. And some of the authors are also here and able to chat with you about their work and sign copies for you. I see one of them standing in the back, Walter. So, with all of that out of the way, today we will be celebrating and cultivating Black joy. And I want to offer a quick rundown of the agenda, which you can access with the QR code that is sometimes around this room. Shortly, Dr. Denise Davis-Cotton will offer some opening remarks, but she will be led by Dean Elizabeth Spiller, who I'll introduce in just a moment. Then we're going to have the privilege of a musical performance led by Miss Allyssa Jones, USF Director of Vocal Ensembles, and her students. Following this opening ceremony, we'll have our first research panel on Black joy and the arts, and then we'll invite you to lunch, part of which will be dedicated to screening the award-winning Journey Towards Justice documentary produced by USF alum Tabria Snowden. This documentary traces the Racial Justice Initiative's Maymester 2024 course, where we took students to Selma, Montgomery, and Birmingham, Alabama, to learn about the civil rights movement. After lunch, we will have two concurrent workshops, one on designing a Black womanist anthology, and the other on connecting to creativity as a pathway to joy. You will have the choice of which of one of those you want to attend. Afterwards, we will have the third and final sessions of the day, also concurrent, on health and Black joy in practice. And throughout the day, our sessions are going to be led by undergraduate and graduate students, faculty researchers, community members, and mental health professionals. So this is IBL's mission to bridge the university to the community, and we're so happy to have so many outside folks coming in to lend their expertise here today. During our closing ceremony, we're going to present 3 graduate students at USF with grants for their remarkable research projects on HIV and AIDS in Africa and the African diaspora. And after that, Dr. Tyson will offer some closing remarks. And then, finally, we will invite you to join us over at Tico Hall in the College of Education for a reception where West Coast Black Theater Troupe will be performing for us the Harlem Renaissance. If you have never seen West Coast perform before, you need to be there. It's gonna be fantastic. So, let me introduce Dean Spiller to you. The Institute on Black Life has existed since 1986. Dr. Jewel Shannon Smith created it, and it was carried forward into the College of Arts and Sciences by Dr. Cheryl Rodriguez. Today, the college is led by Dean Elizabeth Spiller, who will offer some remarks. Immediately after her remarks, we're going to be graced by the Black music. Immediately after her remarks, we're going to be graced by Dr. Davis-Cotton. Dean Spiller joined USF this past summer and has had more than 10 years of academic leadership, including her most recent role as Executive Vice Chancellor and Chief Academic Officer at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. She also served as the Dean of College and Letters and Sciences at UC Davis. And I know that CAS faculty, including me, were really excited to see Dean Spiller's resume and hear her address to the faculty, not only because of her leadership experience, but also because of her humanities background. She holds a bachelor's in English from Amherst College and her master's in English and PhD in American Language and Literature from Harvard University. So please join me in welcoming Dean Spiller.
Well, thank you, David, for that warm welcome. And I in this 7 months, 3 days, not really quite counting time that I've been here, I've been to a number of events in this room. They were all good. This is amazing. So it's really wonderful to see so many people here. I'm completely jealous. I feel confident that the things on my schedule, I really wish I could actually be spending the day here. It seems like a great event. I am Elizabeth Spiller. I'm the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences. I'm just going to say a few words because I actually think all of the interesting things are going to happen as soon as I stop talking. But let me first of all say what a powerful and important theme for this year's conference. I think it's one that we can all see the power of and want to see the opportunities for. Today's event brings together students, faculty, and alumni from the College of Arts and Sciences, but especially with community partners to celebrate Black Joy and its ability to sustain and nourish communities by inspiring strength, creativity, and connection. I should read that again, right? I mean, I think that kind of says it all right there. Okay, that doesn't mean I'm going to stop talking, but I think that's the thing. I've been here, as I say, for 7 months, and I've been at other places, and every place is in some ways the same, and every place is completely different. And one of the things that I think about this place, I already see in this room, which is a willingness to really be in the community together. And if you don't have that as an institution in a community, it's almost impossible to get. So it's really important not to break it. And so I think events like this are part of making sure we keep that piece of what makes USF special. I would say things about us being an AAU school. I love saying those things, but I think many of us know that, and I'm not going to repeat those. One of the things I am going to say about what I also really like about the college's role at USF, we have amazing faculty who do great research. We also have amazing students that we are sending out into the world. And I think of those things as going utterly hand in hand. We pay a lot of attention to metrics. I don't mind that, even though I'm an English professor. In a way, I like to be able to measure things on multiple ways. We talk about our $1 billion research goal. We talk about our rankings. The ranking that I like the best and that I always think is the most powerful, because I really think it speaks to what a research university does, is the social mobility index, right? That is really the measure, being 22nd in the country, of the difference we're making in people's lives. And so whenever I get to talk about the college, I like to celebrate our role in making sure not just that we're a public university with an access mission, but we're delivering on the access that we provide, right? It's fine to open the door, but if you can't change people's lives when you open the door, you're really not doing what you're supposed to be doing. I'm just a little advertisement, because David did say I'm in the humanities. I'm also so pleased that among the many things that we've done, all these great things, I could tell you about all of them, but one I'm especially pleased about this month is that we just announced that we got a Mellon Fellowship to provide up to 900 paid internships per year for humanities students across 6 different departments. And to all of you who are our community partners, Let me just say that the Mellon will be providing paid internships for nonprofit organizations who partner with us on this. So we would love, to be continuing that conversation collectively and individually with anyone who would love to see an amazing, creative, intelligent, critical thinking humanities student in the community out there doing amazing things. The Institute on Black Life, I'm going to say things you know, but sometimes it's good to have somebody else say the things you know, is one of the 24 centers and institutes that are in the College of Arts and Sciences. It's maintained its commitment. The Institute on Black Life has a long and hallowed history at this university. It's maintained its commitment to connecting U.S. And I've read the document that the board originally. I'm one of those people. I looked at the 1986 document on the board approving this. It's maintained its commitment to connecting USF and the surrounding communities since its inception in 1986. Let me officially congratulate David. As the new director, and also thank him. And also he stepped into this role, as you all know, this summer. He's an associate professor now in the School of Interdisciplinary Global. And introduced Professor of Sociology is now stepped in as the new associate director of the Institute. And the Institute also welcomed Nate Perez. Is Nate here? Probably as a federal work study who's helping out the program. And I did want to sort of say a little bit about, I think, some of the work that they've been doing. The Institute has tasked itself with re-engaging internal and external stakeholders, so all of you, to promote collaborative research. Some of the things that they have been doing. They secured a grant from the Sociological Initiatives Foundation that will bring college faculty and students together with community organization leaders and volunteers to create pathways for previously incarcerated veterans to restore their voting rights. The Institute on Black Life is investing in experiential learning opportunities by placing student interns with local nonprofit organizations that work in the areas of healthcare, voter rights, and voter access. Also in the fall, a new Institute initiative fostered a partnership with Envision Resolution, a local nonprofit, on the Wellness Challenge, which will be a 9-month study designed to improve health outcomes by combining health education, community support, accessible resources, and personalized accountability through wellness coaching. That sounds really great. The Institute on Black Life has succeeded in becoming a nexus for graduate students from across the college, where students collect to discuss thesis and dissertation projects, coursework, article manuscripts, and new research as part of a collective activity. Today, you will be invited to engage with the theme of Black Joy in a variety of ways, including student speakers, faculty book showcase, and the documentary exhibition, which I'm really sorry I'm missing. Thank you again for being here and coming together. And please let me, David, do you want to do the next set of introductions? Because I actually, yeah, okay, thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Dean Spiller. And I should shout out one of these community partners that she mentioned with the Wellness Challenge, Envision Resolution. The CEO is here, Antoinette Davis. And you can visit them at ermovement.com, right? ermovement.com. So now I'm going to introduce to you Dr. Denise Davis-Cotton. Let me get these notes together. So Dr. Denise Davis-Cotton is the founder and first principal of the Detroit School of Arts from 1992 to 2010. She was awarded 2 keys to the city of Montgomery, Alabama, and inclusion in the congressional record by the 106th Congress, a Milken Foundation internally recognized educator, and national past president of the Arts School Network. She is the recipient of 2 national federal grants awarded and 1 donor, $1 million legacy gift. She secured $12.1 million in funding to support evidence-based instruction in low-income communities, engaging over 50 national superintendents, and educational leaders annually, spanning pre-K to higher education with a particular focus on addressing and educating students from underserved communities. Dr. Denise Davis-Cotton is also a partner with the Circus Arts Conservatory. We see here the Student Leadership Camp in St. Pete, Florida. She wrote the curricula to integrate circus arts in a high school and middle school in Sarasota. Dr. Davis-Cotton is also the principal investigator on Race, Equity, Arts, and Cultural Healing, also known as REACH, which provides technical assistance and support to more than 300 educators emphasizing arts integrated outcomes. She gets more impressive, and it's going to be even more impressive when she's up here talking. Dr. Denise Davis-Cotton is also involved in museum studies in Montgomery, Alabama, helping to establish a pioneering collaborative network comprising 12 national local education agencies across the country. She is the principal investigator for Think Tank Sessions with REACH. Think Tank Sessions involve superintendents, district administrators, USF researchers, and thought leaders. In Washington, D.C., she gave the arts education presentation. You Belong Here, national arts integration programs across many partner institutions and school sites that impacted over 40,000 students nationwide through various strategic partnerships. And of course, she's a highly sought after speaker. We were very lucky to have her say yes to come speak with us today. Invited to speak at Harvard University, for example, at the Women of Influence 2024. She's also been involved with USAID Global Youth Leadership in Baton Rouge and in Washington, D.C. This is particularly relevant. Thank you. You helped me find a good word. I had negative words. Particularly relevant right now for the work that USAID has done in supporting folks around the world and providing relief. And last but not least, because there's so much more to say, she was the recent recipient of the Living Legend Lifetime Achievement Award by the National Association of Black School Educators. So without further ado, let me invite Dr. Denise Davis-Cotton to the stage, and please give her a warm round of applause. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I just want to take a moment and pause and reflect. I've been talking to my colleagues from USAID, and it is a time of struggle. But last week I had an opportunity to hear Andrew Young, and he talked about struggle, and he talked about our being, and he said freedom is struggle. And as you gain freedom, you go through the struggle. And I know one thing, he takes us to get us through, and we'll get through this. So I want to talk about quickly, and if I go fast, I only have a few moments, and you know I like to talk, so cut me off. The Color of Culture Celebrating African American Excellence in the Arts. Maya Angelou had a powerful quote which reads, "There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you." This is a personal reflection on the transformative power of art in African American or Black culture. As you know, I spend my whole life in the arts and integrating the arts in education. African American artists have not only shaped Black culture, they have fundamentally refined and repurposed what art can achieve and be accessible to in society. There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. These words spoken by Maya Angelou echo through generations of silence, through centuries of suppressed creativity, through decades of stories locked away in hearts too burdened to speak. But today we're going to speak, we're going to sing, we're going to dance. Today, we celebrate the artists who refuse to let their story die. Unspoken, unsung, uncanvassed, unprinted, unchoreographed, and unrehearsed. Think back to the lineage of ancestors who wove stories into the very threads of quilts, who drummed messages of hope across plantations, who taught their children to read by moonlight. They understood that art wasn't just beauty, it was survival. Every spiritual sung, every pattern stitched, every tale whispered was an act of resistance, a validation that their stories were significant. When there were attempts to silence jazz, we created jazz. When there were attempts to erase us, we painted ourselves into history. When there were attempts to define us as property and not as humans, we wrote our own truths, defining meaning to our human existence. Our pain became poetry. Our struggle became song. Our resilience became dance. Our defiance became art that now hangs in the finest galleries across the globe. I stand here thinking of my grandmother, her mother, and my great-grandmother, who hummed and played gospels and mastered the art of quilting. Every stitch a story, each pattern a legacy. I grew up comprehending how empowering the arts are in society. When you say it with words, when you sing it, when you sing it, when you paint it, when you paint it, you dance it, but never, ever, ever let that passion rest inside you. That's what legacy artists understood. Langston Hughes knew it when he wrote about rivers, singing, I've known rivers ancient as the world, and older than the flow of human blood and human veins. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. So let us begin with the written word, America's legendary giants, America's legendary luminaries. Phyllis Wheatley, America's first published Black poet, knew it when she picked up her pen in 1773. She did more than write poetry. She broke barriers, even during slavery. By seizing freedom with every word, imagine, if you will, a young enslaved girl teaching herself to write by moonlight, transforming her pain into power, her yearning into verse. With each stroke of her quill, she didn't just write poems, she wrote possibility into existence. That possibility echoed through centuries, becoming a thundering chorus of Black voices that will build the very foundations of American literature. Wheatley's delicate verses to the Harlem Renaissance literary movement, of Langston Hughes' jazz-infused rhythms, and Zora Neale Hurston's bold Southern narratives to the contemporary literary voice of James Baldwin's essays on race and identity. Searing truths, Black words became vessels of strength, power, and honor. Think of Toni Morrison's Nobel Prize legacy of writing stories so profound, they forced the reader to look into America's darkest mirrors. Her worlds didn't just tell stories, they excavated buried truths. They gave voice to silenced generations, and they painted portraits of Black life so vivid they breathed on the pages. And then, God rest her soul, there's Nikki Giovanni, legendary poet, prophet of the everyday extraordinary, when she declared, I am so hip, even my errors are correct. She was not just speaking about herself, She was speaking about every black woman who ever had to forge her own path through a world that tried to define her. Giovanni taught us that our normal days are worthy of poetry, that our kitchen table conversations are literature, that our street corner wisdom is philosophy. I was born in the Congo. I walked the Fertile Crescent and built the Sphinx. I am so perfect, so divine, so ethereal, so surreal I cannot be comprehended except by my permission. I am bad. I mean, I can fly like a bird in the sky. God rest your soul, Nikki. Wheatley, Hughes, Hurston, Baldwin, and Giovanni weren't just writers. They were architects of dreams, builders of bridges across impossible dreams. When Langston Hughes asked what happens to a dream deferred, he wasn't just writing poetry, he was prophesizing. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? Or fester like a sore and then run? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load. Or does it explode? When Zora Neale Hurston told us that black folks could fly before they were enslaved, she wasn't just sharing folklore. She was returning us to our wings. Consider how James Baldwin's words still burn with truth today, how Toni Morrison's Beloved still haunts our national conscience, how Giovanni's ego tripping still empowers new generations to stand tall in their magnificence. These weren't just books they were writing. They were blueprints for survival, maps to freedom, instructions for resilience. Each word they wrote was an act of determination. Each story they told was reclamation. Each poem they penned was a declaration. We are here. We have always been here, and we will still continue to be here, writing our truths, singing our songs, and telling our stories. Jacob Lawrence knew it when he painted The Great Migration, one panel at a time. Nina Simone knew it when she transformed her rage into be young, gifted, and black. They knew that art wasn't just about beauty, it was about truth. Our truth. Look around this room. Every one of us carries stories inside us. Stories of triumph, stories of struggle, stories of love, stories of loss, stories that deserve to be told, stories that need to be told. Because Maya was right, there is no great agony than bearing an untold story inside you. But there's also no greater power than finally letting that story free. And that's why we're here today, to celebrate the artists who set their stories free, and in doing so, helped us all to be free in our stories. The visual artists, poets, musicians, dancers, and dreamers who looked at a canvas, a page, a stage, or in a street corner and saw not just a space to create, but a platform to proclaim, we are here. We've always been here, and our stories will be told. So today, as we honor these giants of African American art, remember their greatest gift wasn't the art they created, it was the doors they opened, the paths they cleared, and the permission they gave us all to tell our stories in our voices in our own way. So let's begin our journey through the colorful history of Black artistry, celebrating those who transformed their agony into anthems, their pain into paintings, their struggles into stories that echo throughout the ages. Today, as we stand on their mighty shoulders, we must ask ourselves, what stories are we writing? What truths are we telling? What dreams are we daring to put on paper? Because every time we pick up a pen, every time we open a book, every time we share our stories, we're not just reading or writing. We're continuing a sacred tradition, a sacred legacy. So let us go on our journey through these literary giants, these wordsmiths who turned their pens into axes that mine the depths of human experience. Let us explore how they transformed their pain into paragraphs, their struggles into stanzas, their resistance into rhythms. For in their words, we find not just a rich history, but hope for the future. In their courage to write, we find courage to speak. And in their legacy, we find a mandate to continue telling our stories in our voices without apology or permission. It is through the visual arts that we start painting our story. When the early pioneer of visual arts, Henry O. Tanner, first picked up a paintbrush to create religious paintings, Black people weren't meant to be artists. We were meant to be subjects, objects, property. But Tanner didn't just paint. He transformed canvas into testimony. In his The Banjo Lesson, he didn't just capture a moment, he captured our dignity. An elder teaching a child, the gentle curve of their bodies, the warmth light embracing them. This wasn't just art. This was resilience with a paintbrush. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but as you look at the creations of Black artists, each painting is worth 1,000 prayers, 1,000 voices, 1,000 dreams of freedom. For example, when the Harlem Renaissance artist Romare Bearden pieced together his collages of Black life, he wasn't just making art, he was piecing together our fractured history, showing the whole human despite a world determined to keep Blacks broken. The evolution of Black representation is embodied in Jacob Lawrence's Migration series. Imagine Jacob Lawrence, young and determined, picking up his brushes to tell the story of the Great Migration. 60 panels, 60 chapters of our journey north, 60 pieces of an American odyssey. Panel by panel, he painted the story of 6 million dreams in flight, not just from something, but toward something. Toward freedom, toward opportunity, toward home. These artists just didn't paint what they saw, they painted what they knew the African in America would become. They painted the past with reverence, the present with unflinching honesty, and the future with unlimited possibility. Their canvases became mirrors where the African in America could see their true selves reflected, not defined by others, but as they knew what the African in America would be. Every stroke of their brushes was an act of dignity. Every splash of color was a shout of freedom. Every portrait had a poignant saying, "See us, not as you imagine us to be, but as we truly are, beautiful, complex, human." And today, as we walk through galleries and museums, and as we see Black images on those once forbidden walls, we're not just looking at art, we are looking at victory. We're looking at art as resilience, recognition, and representation. Every frame holds not just a picture, but a piece of a compelling journey. Every exhibition is not just a display, but a declaration. We are here, we are here, and through our art, we will always be here. So let us now journey through these masterpieces, these visual testimonies of struggle and triumph, these painted prayers and pictorial pronunciations and pronouncements that did not just change art, they changed how America sees itself. We move from the visual arts to music, the soundtrack of change. When the Africans stepped onto these shores in chains, they brought with them something that could never be shackled. They brought with them their songs. Each note was a code, each rhythm a map to freedom, each melody a thread of hope woven into the darkest nights. Wade in the water and follow the drinking gourd. These weren't just spirituals, these were survival manuals set to music. These songs that carried secrets. When they sang Wade in the Water, they weren't just praising, they were planning. When they hummed Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, they weren't just praying, they were promising freedom. They brilliantly and skillfully turned their suffering into sound, their pain into poetry, and their hope into harmony. And then came the blues. Born in the Delta, carried north like precious cargo in the Great Migration. When Ma Rainey opened her mouth to sing, she wasn't just making music, she was making history. When Billie Holiday wailed the blues, she wasn't just sharing her pain, she managed to tap into something more powerful to convey her message that despite her astonishing composure, the delivery of the words, strange fruit, perfectly encapsulates the horror of her personal haunting that she witnessed from black bodies swaying from the southern trees. Then there's the jazz luminaries. Louis Armstrong, innovative improvisationalist, Duke Ellington's orchestral masterpieces, and Nina Simone's music for activism. Louis Armstrong picked up his trumpet and the world had to stop and listen. He didn't just play notes, he played possibilities. Every time he bent a note, he was bending the rigid rules of a segregated society. When they told him to use the back door of hotels where he performed, his trumpet answered back through the front door, speaking a language everyone could understand. I hear babies crying. We watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll ever know. And I say to myself, what a wonderful world. Duke Ellington. Now there's a man who turned music into majesty. He did not just lead a band, he conducted a revolution of sound. When he premiered Black, Brown, and Beige at Carnegie Hall in 1943, he wasn't just presenting a concert, he was presenting Black history, Black struggles, and Black triumphs wrapped in sophisticated harmonies that demanded respect. And then there was Nina Simone, the high priestess of soul, whose piano keys struck like hammer blows for justice. When she sang Young, Gifted, and Black, it wasn't just a song, it was a battle cry. Her voice carried not just notes, but the weight of our determination, our unwavering demand for justice. And we can't forget the modern musical innovators like Miles Davis, his revolution and evolution into jazz and to Beyonce's visual albums and cultural impact, even in country music. Miles Davis stepped onto the stage like a cool breeze on a hot summer night. But make no mistake, His cool was purposeful. When he turned his back on white audiences, he wasn't being rude, he was demanding respect. Every note from his trumpet was a declaration. I'm not here for your entertainment. I'm here for the art. And now Beyonce, when she takes the stage and weaves Negro spirituals into pop hits and country best albums, she celebrates historically black colleges and universities. She's not just performing. She's preserving. She's not just entertaining, she's educating. Every dance move is a tribute. Every song a celebration of where we've been and where we're going. Think about it, from coded spirituals to conscious hip hop, from blues to jazz and R&B, black music has always been there and more than entertainment. It's been a form of communication. A newspaper when editors wouldn't print black stories. It's been a telephone when black voices were silenced. It's been our weapon when we had nothing else to fight with, and it's been our joy in times of struggle. Each generation found its voice in music. And when we couldn't vote, we sang. When we couldn't speak, we played. When we couldn't fight, we danced. Our music didn't just reflect the movement, it was the movement. It didn't just be the soundtrack of change, it created change. And every era of the struggle has its soundtrack. We're in a soundtrack moment now. From the fields to the streets, from the churches to the clubs, from the marches to the media, black music has been a conduit for messaging, healing, unifying, liberating, and joy. The spirituals, their freedom secrets, the blues, named pain, jazz declared sophistication, soul demanded rights, hip-hop tells truths. And through it all, the beat goes on in the heartbeat of a people who refuse to be silent. So let us now journey from these musical moments to the sonic testimonies of our struggle and freedom. Let us explore black artists who just didn't make music, they made movements. They just didn't create songs, they created change through evolution and artistic expression. Through the performance arts, blacks landed on the stage and screen. Theatrical trailblazers like Ira Aldridge, the first black Shakespearean actor, Hattie McDaniel, the first African-American Oscar Award recipient, and August Wilson's Pittsburgh Cycle paved the way for stage and screen. When Ira Aldridge stepped onto the London stage in 1825 to play Othello, he wasn't just speaking Shakespearean words. He shattered expectations. He was a black man, born in New York, daring to command a European stage where most of his people were still in chains. Every line he delivered was a declaration, we belong here. Every gesture was an act of resilience. We can be kings, warriors, lovers, and heroes. Think about that courage to stand before hostile audiences, to embody characters they never imagined could look like you, to turn their prejudice into praise through sheer mastery of your craft. When they came to mock, he made a marvel. When they came to judge, he made them cheer. And then there was August Wilson. And by the way, West Coast Black Theater is doing the play Fences right now. Who didn't just write plays, he wrote Black Americans into history. 10 plays, one for each decade of the 20th century, capturing black life with such truth as poetry, such power that America had to stop and listen. From Fences to piano lessons, he turned our everyday struggles into epic theater, our kitchen table conversations into Shakespearean-sized truths. And as we dance, emerging from the pioneers that span through Catherine Dunham's anthropological approach to dance and Alvin Ailey's celebration of black heritage, Catherine Dunham leaped onto the stage. She researched, she proclaimed, she rejoiced. She traveled to Haiti, to Cuba, to Brazil, bringing back movements that connected black roots. Every dance step was a history lesson. Every choreographed piece a bridge to Africa. And Alvin Ailey we stretch out his arms to revelations. They weren't just dancing, they were testifying. He took bloody memories and turned them into ballet, our spirituals, and turned them into symphonies and movement. And as I pivot to television and film, I look at the groundbreakers, Sidney Poitier, Oscar-winning dignity, and Spike Lee's notable filmmaking. And guess who's coming to dinner? Sidney Poitier wasn't just playing a doctor. He was performing possibility. When he won the Oscar for Lilies of the Field, he wasn't just accepting a statue, he was accepting the challenge to open the doors for others to follow. You know them: Lena Horne, Pearl Bailey, Harry Belafonte, Dorothy Dandridge, Billy D. Williams, Denzel Washington, Angela Bassett, Sherry Washington, Idris Elba, Regina Hall, Viola Davis, Octavia Spencer, Morris Chestnut. And when Spike Lee was directing films, he didn't just direct our attention with Do the Right Thing. He held up a mirror to America's racial tensions. With Malcolm X, he turned history into epic cinema. From stage to Shakespeare, Spike Lee, from ballet to Broadway, the African in America, the African American and Black American has commanded every space of entry. And as we move into the written word with our emotional impact of our history, and we look at Blacks on stage to tell our stories, every standing ovation is a victory, not just for our people, but for the performer, the audience, as we pray together in pronouncement, proclamation that we belong here, and we too sing America. So let us explore these pioneers and look at the future of Black arts, because we are activated in our change. We stand here at the crossroads of tradition and innovation, and we watch how our digital artists are evolving through this time. Think about it. When a young Black girl creates digital art on her tablet, she reaches far beyond the viral pages. She reaches millions. We're living in a time of evolution. We're living in a time of empowerment. It's resistance. It's resilience. Today's Black artists are no longer asking for a seat at the table. They're creating their own virtual tables. They're not just joining conversations, they're starting them. AI platforms, virtual galleries, augmented reality installations, these aren't just new mediums, they're new manifestos. But as we rush into tomorrow, we must remember that every digital artwork carries the DNA of a slave ship painting. Every viral video carries the echo of a spiritual. Every outline performs that carries the weight of centuries of storytelling. They're not creating content, they're continuing a legacy. So my call to action is this. This is the moment of empowerment, engagement, and voice, not just to create art, but to create access. Not just to tell stories, but to build spaces where all our stories can live and thrive. Every time we support a young artist, every time we share their work, every time we invest in their vision, we're not just supporting art, we're sustaining a legacy. The future of Black art isn't that bright, it's blinding. It's not just coming, it's here. In virtual reality and augmented spaces, the digital canvases and electronic soundboards and forms that we have not even yet imagined. But today, artists aren't just using tools, they're creating new traditions. So in closing, I want you to remember the same spirit that moved our ancestors to singing, to paint in those hidden rooms, to dance in the face of danger now moves in our fiber optic cables and through wireless signals. The medium may change, but the message remains the same. We are here. We belong here. We will create. We will innovate. And we will elevate. Maya Angelou told us there's no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. Today I talk to you about some of the stories of triumph and transformation, of art that refused to be confined by canvas and stage, of voices that refuse to be silenced, but our work is not done. Our stories are still being written, our songs are still being sung, our dances are still being created, and our struggle for respect in arts still continues. But to our universities and institutions, I challenge you with righteous intensity. Look at the social hierarchy of the arts. What is being labeled as commercial or folk art, and recognize the profound academic worth of your designation of tenure. When a gospel singer raises her voice, they're not just making music, they're continuing a tradition older than the ivory tower. When tap dancers strike the floor, each beat echoes rhythms that survive the Middle Passage. They aren't just entertainment. They're embodied scholarship, performed PhD thesis, living cultural documents. Or as Pearl Primus, whose African dance was a laudable dance genre, I say, dance is not entertainment, but to help people better understand themselves. So as we look at tenure, as we look at what art is, Black art has its space with dignity in the university system. So I say to you, and I say to each and every one of you, Maya knew every story matters, every voice counts, every art carries truth. When we silence any form of Black artistic expression by denying it academic legitimacy, we visit and revisit the very agony she warned us about, the agony of untold stories. The color of culture just isn't black and white. It is the vibrant spectrum of the human experience. It's the purple of gospel praise. It's the blue of the Delta blues. It's the gold of tap shoes catching stage lights. It's the red of clay transformed by Black hands. Every shade, every tone, every hue tells its story. So let us all honor these colors, and let us support all these voices, and let us preserve all these traditions, for in doing so, we don't just preserve art, we preserve ourselves. And remember, there's no one like you. There's no one like you. There's no one like you. 'Cause when you're young, gifted, and Black, your soul's intact. That's where it's at. And that's a fact. Thank you.
I would like to introduce now Ms. Allyssa Jones, Director of Vocal Ensembles here at USF, and the Black Joy Ensemble. Allyssa, there you are. There you are. Okay. I do have some words about you.
Oh, no. I'll sit down.
She's also the Assistant Director at the School of Music here at USF. Ms. Jones is an acclaimed vocalist, songwriter, arranger, composer, a festival clinician, and music education professional development instructor whose resume is a feat to behold. Just a sampling of her creative credits include 5 solo recordings as singer-songwriter, over 35 theatrical productions as composer, music director and sound designer, and commissioned works for professional artists and pedagogical projects, including soprano Denise Bird and youth strings organization Make Music NOLA. We are deeply grateful that you have helped arrange this unique, one-of-a-kind performance. This has not happened anywhere else. This is just for us. One-of-a-kind performance with these amazing USF students, the Black Joy Ensemble. So without further delay.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us. We met during the Special Collections, what was it? Camp, like camp. Institute, thank you. Special Collections, Library Special Collections Institute, and immediately hit it off. And I found myself diverting from my original research plan to dive into the African American, now Black American sheet music collection that's housed over there. It is vast. It is enormous. There's so much there, and that's why you won't be hearing one of those songs today, because I couldn't pick one. It was too much. But in the future, this ensemble will be doing arrangements of that. But we wanted to start off this new kind of auxiliary group for USF School of Music with the Black Joy Ensemble. Today you're going to hear a spiritual, thank you, Dr. Davis-Cotton. You're going to hear a spiritual, Deep River, arranged by Harry T. Burley. You will hear I Want You Around by Snow Allegra, arranged by Sydney Bridges, our bass player. Yes. And then you will hear, we were going to close with Lift Every Voice and Sing, of course, during which we expect you all to lift all your voices and sing. Yes, just the first verse, though, because, you know, we got to get on with the program, yes? We're not going to do all 30 verses of it. And that was arranged. Iris, is that your arrangement? Your school arrangement, but Iris brought it too. So please welcome, in order of appearance, Armel, Angel, Desiree, Iris, what's your name? Amelia, Amber. That's what my mother used to say when she couldn't remember our names. Amelia, Amber, and Sydney. This is the Black Joy Ensemble from the USF School of Music.
Deep river, my home is over Jordan. Deep river, Lord, I want to cross over into campground. Deep river, my home is over Jordan. Deep river, Lord, I want to cross over into campground. Oh, don't you wanna go to the gospel feast, that promised land where all is peace? Oh, deep river, my home is over Jordan. Deep river, Lord, I want to cross over into campground.
It's not that I don't want you here. It's something about the way you stare into my eyes. I know that I don't make things clear. I fall for you every time I try to resist you. We can get away. Palm trees, beach views, ordinary day. All I wanna hear is inhibitions on replay. Sit right next to you. You. I try not to show how I feel about you. Thinking we should wait, but we don't really want to. I just wanna get away. Sit right next to you. You. I don't wanna kiss you. Yeah, I just wanna feel you. Feel you. I want you around, around. I want you around, around. I want you around, around. I want you around, 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 round, round. Come through, I think I need you here. I swear it's hard to keep these feelings to myself. Now you're the one I'm thinking of. My higher power, my rocket love. It's gravity, I'd rather stay right here. 'Cause we can get away. Palm trees, beach views, ordinary day. All I wanna hear is inhibitions on replay. Sit right next to you. You. I try not to show how I feel about you. Thinking we should wait, but we don't really want to. I just wanna get away. Sit right next to you. You. Yeah. I don't wanna kiss you. Yeah, I just wanna feel you. Feel you. I want you around, around. I want you around, around. I want you around, around. I want you around, 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 round, round. All right. So we're going to sing Lift Every Voice now. So please stand and join us in this beautiful song. Lift every voice and sing.
Thank you so much for. It sounds like we need to make a Black Joy choir out of this assembly here. Don't be surprised if in your follow-up email you get a little message from me talking about rehearsals are when? Thursday night. You know that's when choir rehearsal is. Thank you so much, and join us at the School of Music on February 25th is our very first ever vocal jazz showcase featuring some of the people here and also Scotty Wright, who's a jazz singer in town. He's amazing, but it is our Diaspora Voices concert featuring all standards made, most famous by Black jazz musicians. So join us for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Allyssa. Thank you, Black Joy Ensemble. All right.